As every boy who's ever been there would tell you, the Armadale School insists on sharing. Sharing things as various as high standards to sharing a sense of humour. But most of all, TAS sets out to develop every boy's ability to live compatibly within a social environment and to share that environment to not only his own, but to everybody's advantage. TAS is a school with commitment, not only to assisting each boy to achieve his best academic standards, but with its well-developed house system, a commitment to providing him with the uncramped facilities he needs for the widest spiritual, intellectual, cultural, social and physical upbringing. Facilities which will give him the elbow room, mentally and physically, to expand. These boys are members of the modern generation, broadly based and from all points of the compass. The policy of the school council is to limit the enrolment to a ceiling of 600, a level which ensures that the school will remain small enough to preserve the Christian values of a caring community, but big enough to provide a very wide range of subjects to university entrance level.
So go to it.
With modern teaching facilities and staffed by caring and expert teachers, TAS doesn't confine itself to just reading, writing and arithmetic, but provides a spread of scholastic pursuits, enabling each boy to find and build upon his own particular directions.
Theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. I'm not sure Shakespeare really meant
Shakespeare, science, communications, agriculture, languages, histories, all form part of the academic spread. The policy ensures small classes with the traditional approach of an emphasis first on the acquisition of basic skills and knowledge in a disciplined learning environment. So there's plenty of scope for individuality and innovation. The curriculum is complemented by the provision of first-rate classrooms, laboratories and facilities. There's a modern and well-stocked library too, and an audiovisual centre. Industrial arts and techniques sit well alongside complementary extracurricular activities like motorcar maintenance. But it's not all mechanics. There are general experience courses in physical and health education, divinity, careers and computer studies to provide an opportunity for every boy to share in a well-rounded education. TAS is justifiably proud of its excellent examination results and high matriculation rate. TAS boys not only achieve results in the classroom, but gain an appreciation of life's crafts and manual skills. The list of former TAS pupils contains many names of famous painters, actors, singers, craftsmen, as well as professors, professionals and public figures. For day boys as well as boarders, there's a feeling of community interest, of sharing, of ideas, facilities, the future.
In England, more than 500
If a boy has learning difficulties, every endeavour is made to identify the problem early. Highly trained and dedicated staff care for the individual and provide specialised attention.
Parents.
At the other end of the scale, extension programs are arranged for gifted students, ensuring they too can maximise their opportunities.
Village were poor and...
Ben, what's that large thing hanging from the ceiling?
A shark, sir.
Has anybody ever seen a shark before in real life?
Hey, sir.
Although it's a feeder to the senior school, TAS Prep School has its very own separate, distinct identity. One obvious difference is that it is co-educational, with little girls now sharing the same care, facilities, fun and basic educational philosophy from K to 6. Specially trained and enthusiastic primary teachers are able to devote time to the individual needs of pupils in small, easy-to-manage classes. And since the prep school is right next door to the senior school, the primary teachers can draw on specialist support teachers and share the facilities the senior boys enjoy.
Alice.
Armadale is known as a city of schools and churches, and it's more than that. It's a busy rural city supporting and servicing a population of about 60,000 on the high mountain plateau of the New England tablelands. TAS celebrates its centenary in 1994, and it will be 100 years of service to the northern areas of New South Wales. Over those years, TAS has become respected not only for the intellectual calibre of its students, many of whom are the sons of local academics, but for the enthusiasm with which the boys have maintained close links with the city and its citizens. Day boys, their parents and friends are encouraged to take part in school activities. So they are an integral part of what is today a diverse, multicultural learning and development environment. Neither the school nor the boys shy away from their social obligations either. The chapel lawn is often a special place for parents and friends of the school to gather with their sons to enjoy a gathering of the old or a meeting with the new. Parents, teachers, students, friends share a respect for the common bond TAS has brought to them, a bond for which the chapel and school, the bricks and mortar, and the boys will thank God when it reaches its 100th year. On this occasion, a mixture of celebration and hope. The Year 12 school leavers and their parents process to a chapel service to give thanks for their schooling and hope that it will reap dividends in the higher school certificate exams to come. It's an opportunity, too, to say thank you and farewell. The TAS motto is Absque Deo Nihil. Without God, there is nothing. The school's primary aim is to have the Christian ethos pervade its whole life. The services of the chapel, enriched by the chapel choir, follow the Anglican tradition, but the school welcomes in worship those of all denominations. The choir also sings sacred and other works at concerts in Armidale and in provincial centres in northern New South Wales. Visitors, too, are encouraged to share in services, and the chapel is always open during term time for private prayer and meditation. But, as in every school activity, it's the boys who do the sharing. Of course, it wouldn't be a school, let alone a great school, without exams. The boys are prepared for public exams and the school's own assessments through a core of English, maths, science and history, supplemented by electives as varied as Japanese and agriculture, industrial arts and drama, centered around traditional messages like this one.
Stay close to your desks and never go to sea, and you all pay rumors for the printing.
The quality of an all-round education can often be judged from the richness of a school's extracurricular program. Music and drama flourish at TAS. Nearly 1/3 of the boys at the school are involved in some form of musical activity. 2 major musicals are performed each year, one usually a Gilbert and Sullivan opera, the other more often a modern musical. In addition to the musicals, there are opportunities for straight drama productions, debating and public speaking, all designed to offer every boy the development of character, his own, or those as diverse as a major general, a judge, a little maid from school, a monarch of the seas, a lovesick maiden, a yeoman of the guard, or a Lord High Executioner. Dependent upon his sense of humour, he could develop a love of languid lilies, even of rapturous maidens, or of being a second trombone. The Armidale School Cadet Unit continues a tradition of development of self-assurance and independence flowing from well before the First World War. Cadets offers the boys in their early years in senior school the skills of bushcraft, camping, map reading and orienteering. About 1 in 3 old boys and staff served in the armed services during the Great Wars, and their deeds and sacrifices are honoured by the benefactions which bear their names. Every Anzac Day, the TAS cadets mount honour guards and catapult parties, not only for the school, but for the wider Armidale community as well. Through regular supervised bivouacs in the nearby countryside at weekends and on annual camp, the boys develop a greater knowledge of their own strengths and weaknesses. By year 10, they can stay as leaders or opt to join a non-hierarchical pioneers group and undertake major expeditions in the beautiful but rugged mountain ranges of New England. New skills, new adventures, new demands for leadership for both day boys and boarders, which only a unique school in the country can offer on a regular basis. Character training through adventure is part of the school's philosophy, with the boys joining in friendly competition as much with themselves as with each other. It's this confidence and self-assurance bred through sensitive training which has enabled boys to become an integral part of New England's emergency services teams. This is gorge country, dangerous and unforgiving for the unwary. But by years 10 and 11, the boys can be called out at any time to search and to rescue. In the same way, the hard yakka of scraping and burning bushfire breaks falls to the boys. These boys are a complete unit of the Bushfire Brigade, and they've certainly played their part in saving lives and property in the surrounding community. Certainly, this sort of community involvement makes the school well accepted and special to the outside world. But what's so special for the boys? TAS headmaster Ken Langford-Smith.
First of all, the atmosphere. There's something very special about that. I think this is a result of a number of things. Partly the school's history. We've got an incredible history for a school like ours in Australia. I think it has something to do with the buildings and the architectural unity that we have here that helps to create the atmosphere. I think it has especially to do with the fact that we're a country school and we're a community school, that parents are involved with us. And this all adds to the atmosphere that we have here at TAS. That's something very special, I think, first of all. Unlike the very large city schools that have grown up today, we're a smaller school, and yet we're large enough to cater and provide a variety of courses for the individual. We'll never be a huge school, and Council has determined that our numbers will be pinned at 600. And this means that we're able to get to know everyone within the school. I think that's the most important thing. We have a very strong house system and a tutor system that enables us to extend the pastoral care to all the individuals. That helps, certainly. I think the fact that we are a Christian school and that staff are committed and dedicated means that they are concerned for the individual too. We're not restrictive in any way with our entry. Not academically, there's no special examination to come into the school, and we're very comprehensive in our intake for that reason. But we feel that's important, that we have, in our particular situation where the school is and its history, we cater for the rural areas and for the coastal areas and Hunter Valley and so on, particularly as a boarding school. And being a boarding school, of course, helps to create part of that atmosphere.
Take your mark!
The school's location in Armidale has enabled it to maintain close involvement with Sydney and Brisbane schools in sport and other activities. Of the 9 GPS schools, TAS is the only one located outside Sydney. Like its brother schools, it's sensitive to its traditions, its academic and sporting standards, and its role in preparing students for leadership and for service. That tradition doesn't mean, though, that it's hidebound and dull. TAS is a boarding school, not just a hostel. A whole boarding house may just as well be found in the summer weekends, enjoying the delights of our eastern Australian coastline. It's a school where the boarding experience is seen as part of the educative process, and that means learning to live in harmony with the environment and each other. It's a place where after sundown can mean that resources, people on the staff and facilities are used to the mutual advantage of the boys and the wider TAS community far and beyond the boundaries of Armidale itself. TAS is administered by a council of church and community leaders, professionals and representatives of the various school interest groups. But they really represent one objective in common, the best interests of the boys themselves. At the annual speech day, as throughout the year, the boys can rely on the patronage of distinguished Australians, like this one, Stephen Hall, AM.
In the course of that first and many other visits, I've had the good fortune to get to know many of the young men who have passed through these gates. A few have also become personal friends. But all of those I have met have qualities which I admire, and among those are their regard for one another, their mutual loyalty, and their ability to listen to the other man's point of view. Finally, and I'm sure I don't need to remind you all of this, never forget the words of your school motto, absque deo nihil. Those 3 Latin words embody a way of life and a concept of existence that will serve you well forever.
Cricket and rugby are traditionally the main summer and winter sports, but ample choice is afforded through athletics, basketball, soccer, swimming, tennis, hockey, and many other alternatives. The school competes against the Sydney GPS schools, Brisbane schools, and numerous visiting schools. Strong local competitions, not only with the other Armidale schools, but against the University and College of Advanced Education, ensure that high standards are maintained. The well-developed house system for day boys as well as boarders presents a closely monitored program of social, personal and sporting development, as well as preparation for responsibility and leadership. In the extracurricular program in particular, social interaction with Armidale's 2 private girls' schools is encouraged. Fortunately, TAS has always been able to rely on its own family and community for support when it's needed. Ken McConville was a housemaster, sportsman and friend to many boys when he was tragically killed. Now there's a centre bearing his name and providing a focus for social occasions for parents and their boys and old boys. It's gatherings like this with goodwill being passed from one generation to another, with good fellowship being shared by boys with their families, with good grace being generated by the caring attitudes of the staff, which allow the Armidale School to occupy and maintain a unique place among the great schools of Australia. It's not scared to stand on ceremony when it's desirable. It tries not to let its success go to its head, to become, in the words of the school lesson, vaunted and fluffed up. But it takes great pride and offers patience so each boy can learn to live through faith, hope and love. The sort of love reflected by one of its many friends and supporters, Australian soprano June Bronhill.
It is marvellous to be here in this unique setting and on such a wonderful occasion, and to be part of helping to raise money for TAS's new music centre is a great thrill for me. I'm very pleased to be here, and thank you all for having me here.